Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within Warzone right now, we have a bit of a meta shift in terms of what weapons you want to be using across the board. Thanks to Season 5 Reloaded, we got a bunch of weapon buffs, weapon nerfs within the update itself that changed around a handful of setups you want to be using on some of the main meta weapons. Also brought some other, maybe lesser used weapons up into the meta as well. So today we are going over the top 10 best loadouts you want to be running. First things first, let's start with perks and equipment. This is going to be the same on all the loadouts here today. For tacticals, I'm still always running smokes, instantaneous cover. You're going to throw off aim assist. You're going to be able to rotate, res, do everything you need to with these. As far as lethals go, you've got options on options right now. I still love my knives. I love going for like little trick shots with them. The insta finishes with them are of course the most important part, but they're actually decent. If you run out of ammo, they can one shot if the enemy is weak, if you're hitting them in the upper body, right? That said, C4 are phenomenal, stickies are phenomenal, and thermites have been getting spammed like crazy lately. These are super effective too. So really any of those, whatever fits your playstyle, run that, you'll be good to go. For perks, I'm still running Mountaineer. The fall damage cheese is so nice to not really have to worry about that. Double time for the better tac sprint. Quick fix I'm fully on board with, as opposed to tempered now with that faster regen. It's so clutch. And then flex obviously for better footstep audio. So that out of the way, we can just focus on weapons for the remainder of the video here today. First things first, surprise, surprise. We're starting with the STG and the static, although the static setup's a little bit different. It's not one I always run, but it's a very fun one to run. And then the STG, yes, it got nerfed. It's still a laser beam. It still has incredible velocity. And quite frankly, it's close to mid-range TTK, is still pretty competitive as well. So I'm really not changing anything with this setup as it stands. I've been using this setup for mid to long range, and that really didn't get adjusted all that much with Season 5 Reloaded. So whatever optic you want to run, go for that. I like the Nidar personally. 50 round Excinemag's the max, so of course you want to run that. Paracord under barrel is still so good for mid to long range. Better horizontal control, so it makes a weapon more predictable, but it also keeps you decently aggressive with better movement speed and strafe speed. Plus it's adding in some aiming idle sway, which is always very clutch. Quartermaster suppressor, if you want a gun to feel like a laser beam, run this. It's so good for control. Objectively one of the best suppressors or muzzle options that we've got right now. Then I go for the C70 long barrel, better range, better velocity. So we're up over 1100 velo. That's so good for the hit scan range. We get a great effective damage range as well. This thing is still frying. Now the static, it got nerfed and it's decently worse up close. It's still a great option, and we'll cover a more standard static setup in just a moment. But this setup is all about Tac-Stance, and it is so fun because you can finesse with this. It throws enemies off and it is a blast to use. So you're switching to Tac-Stance, and all we care about here is our Tac-Stance accuracy. So no stock is going to help out that Tac-Stance spread, and it makes the weapon super fast so you can break ankles. The ULO 66 laser also helps out with Tac-Stance spread. The light barrel helps out with Tac-Stance spread. The Bruin angled underbarrel helps out, you guessed it, with Tac-Stance spread. And then for whatever reason, the S37C breacher device also helps out with Tac-Stance spread. So this thing is laser accurate in Tac-Stance, and it will melt. And it's a ton of fun to use. Not the most practical static. Like I said, we have a standard one coming up, but this is a really fun alternative. And especially now that it got some nerfs, you might want to try out something and see how it feels for you. Next up here, we got the first of a couple of sniper setups. This is the Kar 98K paired with the Striker. This got a range buff yet again. This is such a good sniper support. I absolutely love it. You pair this with a car that can one shot out to, 70 some meters here, you're set. So 75 meters exactly is our one shot range with the max range, max velocity attachments on there of the sonic suppressor, the 7.62 long barrel, and then also high grain. That's how you get the best one shot range and the best velocity possible. Outside of that, it's all preference. I personally like the feel of no stock over like a sling or anything. I like the fast ADS. I like how aggressive this makes the weapon feel. And then I like the Antless AS7 scope. This is going to be a nice little quick, aggressive, faster ADS scope, which you don't really get a ton of. A lot of scopes slow down your ADS. It doesn't reload fast like other scopes do though, so you might want to switch that out if that's something that really matters to you. And then for the sniper support, the Striker's got you covered with its insane range for an SMG here. We're going for the Recon long barrel, basically free range and velocity. We're not hip firing with this build, so that's not a big deal whatsoever. Quartermaster suppressor is going to make us laser accurate, although if you're super comfortable with this gun, you could switch out for the Sonic, and this will actually increase that range and that velocity even more. So that is an option. It just depends on your level of comfortability with the control. Paracord under barrel on here is phenomenal. I like the faster sprint to fire. Our ADS is not that fast, unfortunately, but for sniper support, paracord, it is what it is. You could switch this out for a DR6 if you really want a slightly faster ADS. Jack Slash would be viable as well for base movement speed and whatnot, but I like the feel of paracord here. 60 round extended mag, very basic. And then the light stock is viable. It'll help speed you up a little bit with your overall movement speed. That said, you could also drop that, throw on something like the Kimura laser, get a faster ADS and sprint to fire as well if you want a more aggressive build. You could throw on something like high grain as well if you want to extend that range even more. There's various different ways you could build this thing out. All of them are going to be good. Another solid one, this is a TTK beast of a loadout, the Tac Eradicator, which fries over long range, and then the BP50 conversion kit up close. You pair these together, you're gonna melt. This is a fun iron sight based build for the Eradicator. It's got one of the fastest long range TTKs when you're hitting shots consistently, and I think it's super easy to use. Spirit Fire Suppressor, I like to just go all in on the velo in the range. This is not necessary. You could use Quartermaster for, even more of a laser beam. It's totally up to you, but this will help out some with the range, some with the velocity. Quartermaster, obviously all in on control. Just pick your poison there. Long barrel on here, better range and velocity. Paracord under barrel works great here as well with the control, the better movement. High grain, better range, better velocity as well. And then the core stock is better control too. Since we're not using an optic, we basically get some free control elsewhere. This thing is a laser. It melts. Ton of fun to use, probably my favorite LMG in the game at the moment. And then the BP50 conversion kit up close, this thing just melts as well. So we obviously have the Jack Revenger kit on here. It's going to speed it up, completely change how this weapon feels. We got the Trust 4 grip tape, better control, just straight up. The idle sway con doesn't really matter in the close range. High grain rounds, better range, better velocity, of course. Kimura laser sight, faster ADS and sprint to fire. And then Zem 35 would work on here. Quartermaster suppressor would also work. Again, if you're super comfortable with the control, you could try something like Sonic and extend that range and that velocity out even more. Totally up to you, but yeah, for the close range, this thing's going to be able to compete with other SMGs so easily. It is a great choice for the close range. And by the way, as we are breaking down all the loadouts and weapons here today, if you enjoy the video, if you find it helpful, do me a favor and drop a like. It really does help grow the channel and promote the video into the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe you have not subscribed yet, we should change that. I am on the road to 1 million subs, and every single day I got you covered with all the need to know info for Call of Duty. We're talking news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. It's all right here, so feel free to hit that subscribe button. Next up, we got another sniper loadout. This of course features the KATT infinite one-shot headshot, super great for sniping, and it hasn't changed since launch. Pair this with the MCW conversion kit. This thing is, I would say, probably the best sniper support option in the game in terms of TTK, mobility, recoil, all that factored in. So KATT setup, same old here. All we care about is getting the best velocity possible. So Nightfall suppressor on there. We got the Zang 34 barrel, and then the high velocity ammo. That's the best possible velo you can get at 942. The effective damage range does not matter since this is an infinite one-shot headshot. I also use the tac pad stock for a slightly faster ADS speed just behind the face cam there. You can do so many things in the time it takes the KATT to ADS. You could mow your lawn. You could maybe visit a new country. It's slow, just straight up. You'd have to live with it if you want the one-shot headshot at any range. I also go for the quick bolt on here. This is going to help out that rate of fire and make sure I can get shots off faster. Back to back to back. If you're looking for a screenshot, there you go. But yeah, like I said, nothing's really changed with the KATT. And then for the MCW conversion, we're just really focused on optimizing the range and keeping it efficient, right? So I like the NIDAR on here. Nice little optics, super clean for the mid-range and whatnot. You obviously have the Raven kit on there. That should be self-explanatory. 40 round extended mag, that's the max here. Again, pretty self-explanatory. I, again, like the paracord under barrel here. Jack Slash could be viable as well for the movement speed. That's not bad at all, but I do prefer the strafe and the faster sprint to fire that paracord offers. And then Sonic Suppressor extends out that range and that velocity. The velo definitely needs as much work as it can get here. 541's not great, but it works. And with that, we have a really fun sniper support setup for sure. Then we've got another sniper setup. This time we're featuring the Stalker, which is a limited one-shot. It's only going to be a one-shot headshot in its effective damage range. And we paired this with the base static, which is a more practical loadout. You could use this same build as like a secondary to your rifles or LMGs. But it really, I think now, because the nerfs to the static, it's just better as a sniper support outright, unless you're using like Tac-Stance or something. It's got really good range for an SMG, and of course it's really easy to use. But for the Stalker here, this is my sort of hybrid faster ADS but decent one-shot range. So I use the integrated suppressor barrel. We have a great velocity, we don't have to worry about that. The effective damage range is 70 meters, just a little bit shorter than the cars. That said, you could always swap this out for, just a straight up longer barrel like the Fission 60 and get a few extra meters, and you'll show on the radar. If that really doesn't matter to you, it is what it is. It's 2 meters. It just depends on your level of play, how comfortable you are with this gun and if that really matters, you know, in your gunfights. High grain ammo on here, obviously extending that range some. We got the SPS 6.6 times. I don't really like the base optic on this. It's a little bit too zoomed in for my liking. This is all preference though. If you're okay with an optic, you know, you could drop this, put on a laser for a faster ADS. You could use the heavier barrel and a suppressor for better range and better velocity. Totally up to you. And then once more, I got a combination of no stock and then the light bolt, just so I have the faster shots and the faster ADS and everything, similar to the KATT as well. So definitely an ideal sniper setup if you're more aggressive there. And then the static setup is going to be the same as I was running last season, except like I said, just more based around sniper support gameplay. So light stock on here, better movement, straight up, keeping us aggressive. Night Model 2023. The long barrel here is what really gives us the best range, the best sniper support build. You got great velocity and a great effective damage range. Paracord underbarrel, quartermaster suppressor on here. Yet again, no surprise there, but really effective in this specific situation. Just a little heads up as well. Right now, my friends over at G Fuel are running a back to school BOGO event. So obviously we've got season 5 reloaded out right now. Black Ops 6 beta is on the horizon. Several of you are probably returning to school for the fall. And with that, you want to make sure you're hydrated, you're energized, you're focused, and you're ready. And the buy one, get one offer right now from G Fuel is the best way to save money and get the most out of the cash you're spending. So if you want to restock on your favorite flavors, try out something new, now is the best time to do so. The link for the BOGO will be down in the description below if you're interested. Next up, a very fun loadout that just got buffed, the Pulemyot 7.62, and I paired this with the FJX Horus. Great close range run and gun option here. So when you are rotating from point A to point B, you don't want the heavy, slow Pulemyot on. You want this. When you're pushing buildings, you want this. We got the 60 round extended mag on here, the Ripper light stock for straight up better movement, fast sprint to fire, decent strafe, good general movement speed. I like the Nidar a lot more than I like the Iron, so I do opt for that. Sin 90 long barrel on here extends out that range to 9, almost 10 meters there basically. It's got a fast TTK in that 10 meters though, so that's actually pretty important. And then for the muzzle, this is just kind of preference based. If you want quartermaster for the utmost control, go for that. Zem 35 will be a little bit faster on your ADS, not by much, but it's a little bit faster. The Requitor suppressor could be viable here too. Sonic suppressor could be viable here as well if you're interested in the range and the velocity. A couple of different ways to kit it out depending on your playstyle and your you know, comfortability with the gun, but Horus is still a really good close range choice. Then the base Pulemyot, not one that we've talked about a ton of, but it got buffed and this is a pretty fun setup. It's decently low recoil, hitting your shots consistently is important. The TTK does fall off because the fire rate's not crazy, but this will melt if you're landing your shots. I go for the 2.5 times Eagle Eye. I got the high grain rounds on there for the better range, the better velocity. The Kimura vertical grip for some better control, although the Rin vertical grip could be decent if you really want to go all in on control. Jack Slash, I guess, would be viable here if you want it to be a little bit faster. Bruin Heavy could be viable as well. The skeletal vertical grip too for a little bit better mobility. There's a lot of underbarrels you could run in this situation to really optimize for your play style and how good and how much you like the feel of this gun. I go for the heavy barrel, which is range, velocity, and control. Then quartermaster suppressor just straight up for better control because I want to be as accurate as possible here. But this thing got buffed and it's definitely a whole lot better than it was before the update. Loadout number 7, bit more of an aggressive SMG and rifle pairing. BP-50, one of my favorite rifles in the game, as I'm sure you know. Pretty standard setup, one that hasn't changed in several seasons. Because they don't touch it, it's great. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? We got the lower 9 heavy barrel, better range, better velocity, better control, better pizza, Papa John's. It's been a minute, I had to throw it in there. Quartermaster suppressor, paracord underbarrel, deadly little duo there for sure. 45 round extended mag unfortunately is the max, so the DPM's not phenomenal, but this thing does melt when you're landing your shots. Then Moat 40 stock, your castle will be safe. You can only be attacked via bridge or the air. It's going to help out with your control, your mobility as well. Nice little 2-for-1, 3-in-1 if we're counting the real life bonuses there. It's a ton of fun. I absolutely love this build. You can pair this with the Superi, which this build is still based around strafe, and it's a really good close range choice. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've been running this for a bit, but it also is not really getting changed and it still fries. So light barrel helps out with strafe speed. Paracord underbarrel helps out with strafe speed. And then of course, some decent sprint to fire in there. The ADS could be faster, just something you have to live with unless you want to swap out for like DR6. It'll be slightly slower for your sprint to fire, but better for your ADS. Just all preference really. High grain ammo, extending out that range and that velocity, decently important here. 40 round extended mag's the max, but that works with this fire rate. And then the cutthroat stock is of course better strafe speed as well, going all in on that. So really agile, really mobile SMG setup, especially when you're ADSing. Ton of fun to fight with. Loadout number 8, another pretty fun one that's received some buffs lately. The Battle 27 is better than ever right now. It got a close range buff with season 5 reloaded. Got a huge huge recoil buff back with season 5. So this thing's actually a laser beam in the mid to long range, also clean irons as well, so you can fight decently versatile with this. And I pair this with the Wasp 9. Great secondary all around. In a lot of ways you could build this out, honestly. But for the Bal 27, like I said, I'm going iron sights. I love the feel of this. I got the Crown H3 barrel for the better range and velocity, Quartermaster and paracord yet again. High grain rounds, although if you really want to focus on like a long range efficiency with visibility, you could swap this out or like the paracord underbarrel out for an optic if you're not a fan of the irons, but I like the extra benefits of that better range and better velo. And then the 60 round Cinemag, you definitely want this because when you kick into overdrive and you get into that fast fire rate with this thing, you burn through ammo. So 60 rounds is definitely going to be necessary. And then for the Wasp 9, I don't like the irons here, so I go for whatever optic you're comfortable with. For me, it's the MK3 or the NIDAR. I go back and forth with those. 50 round Cinemag works great here. High grain rounds is more efficient for the range and velocity increase than a long barrel would be. I actually like DR6 hand stop here just because our ADS speed is 223 with this on. Not the fastest. It is what it is, but you're not going to get better ADS with paracord on there. And I also like the decent other benefits with strafe and sprint to fire the DR6 offers here. And then Requitor Suppressor I'm also using because I think this is an easy gun to use, and the faster ADS speed helps out here too, as opposed to Quartermaster, which will slow your ADS speed down. Even ZEM35 slows your ADS speed down, so that's just kind of working with what we got. I wish the ADS was faster, but it is what it is. It's still a super easy SMG, and it's got a quick TTK too. Loadout number 9 is going to be another sniper build, and we're pairing this with the same exact MCW conversion kit that we talked about in the first loadout. So if you missed that, just go back to that timestamp. No need to rehash all the same attachments yet again. But the Moors here obviously can infinitely one-shot as well. It's a little bit more clunky than the KATT in my opinion. It's probably my least favorite of the one-shot snipers, but with this you want to be using the anti-material slug for that infinite one-shot. It unfortunately kills the velocity. It's not great. So you really have to get used to the bullet drop and the bullet lead, but the ton heavy barrel will help out with that better velocity. The charge barrel, yes, gives you crazy velocity when you fully charge it. I just don't like the feel of having to sit there and wait for the full charge. It just throws off my timing and throws off my aim. Razor Hawk laser sight for the better ADS and sprint to fire, and then once more for the snipers, we're of course going for the fastest stock and then the quick bolt so we can get our shots off faster. Back to back to back to back and wipe squads and clean up kills. And then lastly here, another pretty fun meta loadout with the MTZ-556 phenomenal rifle. And I actually paired this with the Gallo, aka the Reclaimer 18, aka the Spaz 12 in the close range. This is a Tac-Stance build and it can 2 to 3 shot. This is a Gumi recommended build. I've tweaked it a little bit, but I really like the feel of this thing. Been running it a lot, and it's toxic, but it also is really effective. So no stock here. It's okay because when you ADS, you can't see with no stock, but we're using Tac-Stance and we putting this in a semi-auto so we can spray it, not pump action. Although pump action's good, semi-auto is better. I also go for Dragon's Breath, once more toxic, but it helps out with the effective range being extended there. Kimura laser sight is just overall better for Tac-Stance and speeds it up some. The 900 heavy barrel is better range as well, and then the full choke also extends out that range some too. So you can spam this up close, it'll make your enemies rage, and you'll win games because this is incredibly dominant in those 10 meters and closer fights, really. And then for 10 meters and beyond, you got the MTZ. Obviously a low recoil rifle, great for the mid to long range, fast TTK now, and honestly it is one of the more reliable ones right now in my opinion because of ease of use and just how dominant its damage is too and how consistent that is. So glassless optic here works great. NIDAR 2.5 times, whatever optic you want to run, go for it. 50 round Cinemag is what it is. The fire rate's fast at 810 and you can't get higher than this, so you're gonna have to live with it, right? High grain ammo on here, better range, better velocity. If you really need extra help with the control, you could swap this out for a paracord, but I find it to be pretty easy to use. Clinch Pro barrel, better range and velocity, and then Quartermaster Suppressor obviously giving us great control as is. So definitely a really solid rifle option to compete for 50, 60, 70 meter fights. And that being said, those are the top 10 best loadouts to be running right now within Warzone in general across Resurgence and Battle Royale. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always really appreciated. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.